Devastator's design deviated hard from the G1 character when he made his first appearance in the live-action films in 2009, and his only appearance in the live-action films. But I'm in the group of people who kind of prefers the Revenge of the Fallen design over the G1 one. Don't get me wrong, the G1 Devastator still looks really cool, but for me, Revenge of the Fallen one is way more intimidating. I use that in air quotes. G1 Devastator is just a big green man with a weird hairdo, purple shades, and a shovel for a foot. Whereas movie Devastator is this big, hulking beast that would scare anyone if you met it in real life. He also has a heavy presence because he has to walk on all fours to support his massive weight, which makes him even more terrifying. When the Revenge of the Fallen toy line was still on shelves, there were a couple of attempts at Devastator, but they were weird, ranging from that Supreme figure that had no individual robot modes to the whatever the hell this is. But we did get a combiner that had robots, alt modes, and combined forms, the Legion toys. Released as single pack toys and as a boxed set in lots of colors. You got the concept colors, which was like the retail release, this one right here. You got the Takara release, the G1 colors, the G1 Takara colors, and then the film accurate movie advanced colors, which came out in the Age of Extinction Takara toy line. But these 6 vehicles are Long Haul, Mixmaster, Scrapper, Scavenger, Hightower, and Overload. Basically the same as the Studio Series ones minus scrap metal. I would compare the individual robots to their Studio Series counterparts because that makes the most sense, but like after I took Long Haul off, he was basically dead. Don't want to risk that with the rest of the Constructicons, and the upgrade kit's a pain to take off, so unfortunately that comparison's not gonna be made. But I love these little vehicles. They remind me a lot of Hot Wheels because their size, and they're so much fun to look at, and they're packed with detail for being so small. The only one I think that's a little bit boring to look at is Overload because of all that like bare space on his back in his alt mode. Oh, and they don't scale with each other at all. That as evident by Scavenger and Mixmaster. I was about to say they would fit pretty well with a Legion/Legends collection, but they don't do that either. They are out of scale with literally everything. But there really isn't much else to say on the vehicles other than they look cool. Like their details are really nice, but they are lacking in the paint area. But then again, this is the Hasbro version, so that's just something we're used to by now. So onto the robot modes. It's all super easy getting them into robot modes, but for the most part, they're pretty interesting conversions. Long Haul is probably the most boring, and Mixmaster just doesn't know when to chill out, but otherwise, they're fun to mess with conversion-wise. Robot modes actually look really good, minus some missing paint, obviously, but they are retail Legion toys, so what do you expect? But I love the way these guys look together. The only one I don't like is Long Haul, because of those shoulder stacks he has. I kind of wish they folded away or something, like, or maybe like that little bit stuck off on the actual back of the truck, so that would have made things a little bit nicer. He also can't move his arms forward. That's something that's just strange. Mixmaster is extremely strange too because he has a face hanging off his back for obvious reasons, but he looks as wacky as the actual mainline toys, so that's good. I actually quite like that. Scavenger looks like the Devil Savior one, and there's a reason for that because the Devil Savior one I believe is based off of the Legends toy. But the robot looks really sweet. The colors are actually distributed very well and the details on it look pretty sick. Hightower looks as goofy as ever because, well, it's Hightower, but the robot does look accurate to the design is weird. Overload is sick, but extremely small. I wish he had some more paint like the rest of the Constructicons, because the robot mode kind of does look a little bit bland, and that's kind of unfortunate. Scrapper here is pretty crisp, but he has nipples, and now you can't unsee that. But the toy itself uses all of its parts very cleverly to make the robot mode, which I am a huge fan of. That makes his conversion kind of fun. Skipjack is my favorite one. It's super interesting to convert, and it looks really neat. Plus, there was a red one released, but it's pretty hard to find. I've found like one on Bai, but that's about it. It's a really fun figure, though. I do quite like it, and it can stand without the need of life support. You know, that's nice. I love the way the team's shaped out. However, they don't look great next to other toys simply because of their size. Again, I really do wish these were Scout class size because that would have made them scale a little bit better with the rest of the toys at the time. But then again, it would have been more expensive, so give or take. They all have very basic arm articulation except Long Haul and Scavenger a bit. Well, Hightower, but he gets a pass because he's Hightower. But that's not all this set does. They can combine too, which is the reason most people buy this set. And the combination process is pretty seamless. Getting the limbs off, though, can be a bit scary, and I'll talk about that later. But the combined mode you end up with is kind of strange. It's based on the standing up concept art with the gray head, but it looks neat. I just love the fact that they made this. He can't really do much outside of turn his head a bit because it's a Legion figure, and it kind of fits into Legion collect. No, not really. It doesn't scale well. It looks nice with them, but if you're a scale nut, this thing is going to throw you off. The colors are very Devastator, and I still think Long Haul looks so out of place. But the actual combined mode is pretty sick. I love how they went for Skipjack instead of the traditional Rampage, because Rampage was the only one in the film to get a robot mode. He can also kind of do the four-legged crawl thing, but it's not the greatest. But honestly, he doesn't need to because of how small the toy is and how long the arms are anyways. I feel like it just works, for me that is. With the Studio Series one, they definitely have come far from the Legions one. But the Legion one, to me, is more fun to mess with. Because, like, A, mine has the DNA kit on, which is a pain to remove. B, the components like to quit life when I take them off. And C, the Legion one is more inviting to mess with. There's no posability on the Legion one outside of the head turning on its little stick, which is a little disappointing, not gonna lie. I do wish that they had used like the arm pins to make proper elbows. However, mine are so loose that it's, you know, a little floppy. And you would have to change the way that Scavenger's shoulders are done in order for you to be able to get arm articulation out of this if they were to design it that way. So I don't see how they could have done that easily. But I want to talk about removing the limbs quickly, because I know some people who have broken their copies connectors. They are really tight, and just yanking them out will probably not be healthy for the toy in its longevity. What I do is take the limbs off, like I rotate the limbs at 90 degrees and then take them off at such an angle, so that way you aren't pulling the whole joint out and stressing it. I love this figure though. It's such a fun desk toy. Like, this is a combiner that's super fun to mess with because it's so easy to pick up and go. Transform them, combine them, all that sort of stuff. All of that can be done really quickly, and in the end result isn't that bad for a toy from 2009. This thing can get expensive, however. Like, I see it going for a lot of money on the secondary market. However, I did see the G1 Colors one at TFCon sealed for about 50 bucks Canadian. So you can find this for some pretty decent prices. You just gotta know where to look. And honestly, I might pick up that G1 Colors if it's still there in July, because TFCon July I will be going. There is also a more movie accurate, movie advanced version that I talked about earlier. It's got the red face instead of the gray face. And I want to get that one as well because it's really cool. Actually, I just want to get all the versions of this, not gonna lie. This is one of the toys I want to mold collect. But yeah, I do recommend getting one if you can find it for a good price, because like $100+ as I see it, as often as I see it, don't pay that much for it. That's way too much. But that's been my look at I almost said Studio Series. This is not the Studio Series. That's my look at Legion Class Devastator. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.